Good morning. My name is Richard Wexler, and this is Caring in America, the podcast for caregivers and care recipients. So, folks, like I do on every episode, a little background of who am I and why am I doing this. So, go back about 19 years. 05, I'm minding my own business in the software industry, got married later, two small kids, one 11, one 7. My wife and I have all four of our parents with us, and we think they're doing great. Well, it turns out they weren't. And then we get 3 phone calls, which turns into 4 phone calls, and all of a sudden, we're in a new adventure in our life. How long is that going to last? How long are we going to care for them? Little did we know that was going to last 14 more years until the last parent passed away at 96 in 2019. Wind the clock back about another 16, 17 years. I'm in the software industry. I realize I can barely spell the word care. I leave what I'm doing. I start my company, Points of Life. I read everything I can get my hands on. Eventually, I become a national expert in the subject of aging and care. And I get shoved out the door to start educating people. And I wound up educating people all over the country for the next 16 plus years. And then about a year ago, got the idea that I wanted to try and reach hopefully more people, started the podcast so we could hopefully do that. We have a special guest this morning. I'm going to introduce her via her bio. Lake Bancroft has a background as a volunteer in skilled nursing facilities and as a certified nursing assistant. She co-owns TrueBlue Home Services Ally in the Treasure Valley of Boise, Idaho. And she does so with her husband, Adam. He brings over 20 years of construction experience. Lake and Adam were committed to finding a venture that would merge their respective backgrounds and their passions while focusing on a community engagement. They discovered TrueBlue, a handyman franchise specializing in senior home safety modifications, and recognized it as an ideal match that addressed a significant need in the community. As the director of community outreach, Lake is involved in various local senior organizations, dedicating her efforts to enhance the safety and well-being of elderly residents. Good morning, Lake. Are you there, ma'am?
Good morning.
I'm very happy that you joined us this morning on this bright, sunny day. So, got a few questions that I want to ask you so we can really help our audience understand exactly what you're doing. Can you possibly share some common home safety hazards, that seniors just may encounter and how to address them by doing possibly some moderate modifications?
Yes, absolutely. And thank you so much for having me on today. Common home safety hazards for seniors typically include slippery floors, poor lighting, and hard to reach items. So, the best way to address these is to install things like grab bars, non-slip flooring, and adequate lighting throughout the home. It is pretty crucial for individuals, particularly as they age, and even if they experience some dizziness or balance issues, to just avoid using ladders in general. A fall from a ladder can significantly impact one's quality of life, and that really isn't dependent upon age.
Wow. So, and I think my audience may know this or may not know this, and I have, unfortunately, a ladder story. So, this is a tough one. So, in the fall of 2016, my wife and I decided we were going to do some work on our home. I got the assignment of cleaning out the attic above our second floor. So, of course, I chose early morning one day of the week when no one was home but myself. So I'm up there doing what I'm supposed to be doing, or let's say I'm doing what I'm doing, maybe not supposed to. And I'm probably about 9, 10 feet up, and I get into an argument with the ladder. Look, it's all the ladder's fault. I had nothing to do with this. It's all the ladder. And all of a sudden, I find myself flying. I try to use my wings, and they're not working. And I'm flat on the floor, on the hardwood floor that's below the opening to the attic. So, long story made short, and I won't go through all the gory details. Folks, if you're listening, I'm telling you, may not be the best idea, and it may be a good idea to talk to Lake and her husband instead of being a dummy like me and going on a ladder. I broke a femur, and that took quite a while, get through surgery, and quite a while before it healed. So, do you guys have services where you could help someone maybe because they shouldn't be on a ladder?
We do, and we even have some safety rules in place for our own workers. When we send somebody out, we make sure that if it's a certain height of a certain ladder, that they have somebody else with them as well, because you do need a ladder to replace things like smoke detector batteries and just quarterly maintenance when it comes to cleaning out gutters. Though you're going to need a ladder for that, and we do that where we offer quarterly home memberships that are geared towards those basic maintenance tasks that you're going to need around the house.
So, I should have known about you and I should have called you guys because I would have avoided the broken femur and months of recovery. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Well, we do definitely cost less than those hospital bills, I'm sure. So, yes.
So, folks, when you're out there, you get to a certain age, and that little thing up in your head is probably saying, no, don't climb that ladder. Call a company like Lake and Adams. So, are there key areas of the home that require modification so seniors stay safe?
Key areas often needing modifications include bathrooms, entryways, and staircases. So these can be equipped with grab bars, ramps, and stair lifts to improve accessibility and safety. There are lots of ways to modify a home, and they can be done in a way that doesn't take away from the home's comfort and appearance.
Interesting. So, what I'm gathering, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm 8 minutes and about 30 seconds into this podcast, and I'm getting to my word, folks. I know, buckle up. Here it comes. Plan. That four-letter word, I know you hate it, but that's what Lake is talking about. And what I was talking about with the latter, there are companies like hers out there that you want to connect with because you shouldn't be doing these things, but and I think Lake can correct me if I'm wrong, but you need to be thinking about them ahead of time. If getting in and out of the shower is difficult, or stability in the shower, and simple grab bars and stuff like that. I mean, can you explain the process of making a home more accessible for folks as they age, but still maintaining the aesthetics and the functionality of the home?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing that we will do is we will come in and conduct a thorough, no cost, no obligation assessment of the home and talk to the homeowner about what it is that they're hoping to achieve and what areas of the home that they might be needing to make a plan for. We consider factors like mobility limitations, existing hazards, and just daily activities to determine the necessary modifications.
Sure.
We always work closely with the homeowner and the family to ensure that those modifications blend seamlessly with the home's design while still meeting safety needs. So this may involve choosing materials and colors that complement the existing decor and installing discrete accessibility features as well.
So, folks, let's talk about this. And we've talked about this a lot on the podcast, and all the teaching I've done around the country. I've certainly heard the message that most people want to stay at home. I'd say over 90% of people want to stay at home. They want to die at home with their boots on. Okay, great. We're not talking about care yet. That may come at some point. But what Lake is talking about is just making the home safe. Do you have stairs? Do you have stairs by the front door? Do you have a shower or a bath situation that isn't as safe as it should be? What we're trying to avoid, and you're obviously trying to avoid, is that little tiny word called care. And if you can prevent the falls and so on and so forth, that's going to be a huge part in preventing that little tiny word. I mean, I have to understand, Lake, I'm sure there's a cost to doing this, but are there ways you can still make modifications and make the home, keep the home, make the home safe for someone that's on a budget?
Absolutely. And honestly, a lot of these products have come a long way from what I think most people, including myself before I started doing this, imagined in our heads. So affordable options include simple modifications like adding handrails and grab bars and also improving the lighting. For the bathroom modifications, we can look at lowering the threshold for an existing tub um, rather than remodeling the entire bathroom. We also can install products that, on average, can be done for one third of the cost than a completely new shower installation. So sometimes those shower installations with no threshold are necessary, but sometimes just lowering the threshold of an existing tub will do the same thing for that person, depending upon their needs.
That's great advice. And again, you and your husband are the experts. You're talking to a homeowner. And I like to use scenarios on the podcast. And maybe we're talking about someone's mom who may be late 70s, in her 80s, lives here in the Boise area. Maybe the husband has passed and she does want to stay at home. But they realize that currently the way the home is set up, it may not be in the best shape for her. And I love the fact you guys can come in, look at these modifications, and even help someone that's on a budget. I may be wrong. You can correct me, but I'm assuming, tough word, there's been changes and their currents tends to be changes and current changes and future changes in your industry in home safety. I mean, how do you keep up on all the latest trends and the best practices?
So we stay updated on new products, and we believe in continually educating ourselves. So we are certified senior home safety specialists through Age Safe America, and we are working toward getting our CAPS certification, which stands for Certified Aging in Place Specialists, through the National Association of Home Builders. In addition, all of our employees are background checked and we are licensed and insured. So we try to really stay as up to date as possible on the things that we can educate the homeowner on when we step into their home.
Which is fantastic. And what I've noticed over the years in speaking with people, a lot of people don't, I mean, they look at their home, they've been there for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. They think it's safe. Maybe they've pulled throw rugs off the floor and they think everything else is fine. But as Lake's been talking about, there's a lot of little things you may want to be looking at. And as I was just talking about, if someone really wants to age in place and stay there, they've already been there 30 or 40 years, but they want to be there quite a few years in the future. These simple modifications can really help. I mean, like in your experience, are there some common misconceptions out there about modifications for seniors? And if someone brings that up in a conversation with you or your husband, how do you guys address that?
I think the biggest common misconception is that home modifications are only necessary after an injury or decline in health. In reality, proactively, and like you said, having a plan and addressing safety concerns can actually help prevent accidents and promote independence for longer. So, early intervention and regular maintenance are crucial to ensuring a home is safe for aging in place. And another one is, that home safety requires a complete remodel. And there actually are now many cost effective modifications out there that can be implemented at a significantly lower cost than a full remodel.
Let me ask you a question we really haven't talked about, and I don't know the answer to it, but have you been on calls, maybe consulting with an individual, a couple, looking at their house? Maybe it's quite old and it doesn't make sense for your husband or you to really talk to this homeowner about doing modifications because maybe there's just too many. I mean, have you run into that, or how do you guys address an issue like that?
I think that when we go out to a home, a lot of times people think that they need a lot more and it's going to be a lot more costly than they really do. There aren't in our area a significantly large number of homes that are just so poorly laid out that they're a huge danger. Most of the time, just installing some grab bars in the bathroom or changing those thresholds, that's typically where most of those accidents are going to occur.
That's fantastic advice, folks. Think about what we're talking about. Again, sorry, think about that bad word, plan. You want to stay there for a long time. You realize maybe it's been a little difficult getting in and out of the shower. You realize there may be some other small modifications, maybe in the kitchen or other places that can help you. Think about, and we'll make sure that Lake gives her contact information out. Think about a company like hers, what they do. And I think, remind me, like you said, your first consultation is that of no cost to the homeowner?
That's correct. We do all of our consultations and any estimates we provide. They are all no cost and no obligation.
That's fantastic, folks. And really understand, okay, I want to be here for a while. My kids don't live anywhere near me anymore. And it makes sense just to make a few. And it's like we're saying, maybe there really aren't that many modifications you need to make, but a few would really help you to stay safe in the home. And maybe we can avoid that little tiny word called care. If people want to reach out to you, like, can you give an email, a phone number, a website? What would you like to give them?
Well, I can go ahead and give my phone number and the website. My name is Lake, and my phone number here at the office is 208 800 8441. And if anybody would like to go to our website, it is just going to be www.tru for true, and then BLUE for blue, ally.com. And when they put their location in, it'll come up with the Treasure Valley if they're here or any of the other local owners where they are. So that's going to be www.trueblueally.com, and true is spelled without that E. And then anybody in our area who's looking for information on the things that they can do, I am absolutely happy to, if they want to send me a message, share some of those safety checklists that we do when we do our home maintenance memberships for our customers as well.
That's fantastic information. As we get ready to wrap up, folks, as I talk about on every episode, if you want to reach out to me, you have a question, you have a comment, you're someone in the senior elder care industry, you'd like to be on the podcast, that email for me is eldered2023@gmail.com. So I really want to thank Lake. I think, folks, we brought a lot of information. Please share this with folks around you. One last question, Lake. Do you guys have other locations in other parts of the country as well?
We do. So with that website, if people want to go to that TrueBlueAlly.com website and they put in their zip code, they would be able to find a location in their area as well.
Perfect. Fantastic information. So, folks, until we talk again, have yourself an awesome day.